Us for a conversation. A very good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us here on the Super Morning Show.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners. And I'm glad that after a long time, I'm back to your station.
Great. So, Honorable Nitiwul, let's get into the conversation about happenings in relation to the military in affected areas. So, because over the last 2 or 3 days, there's been lots of conversations about the withdrawal of the military and decision reversed. We've seen statements. Just help us understand, going into these affected areas, what was the plan of the Ghana Armed Forces?
So the Ghana Armed Forces are not working in isolation. The supervising body in this particular operation is the Disaster Management, NADMO. And when the incident happened, you will know that there was a stimulation exercise at Mepe in April this year to prepare for a possible spillage. And so both the Armed Forces, NADMO, and VRA anticipated that there would be a problem like this and had prepared for it, including doing a stimulation exercise, a live stimulation exercise at Mepe. So the people themselves knew that there was a possibility this could happen. So when it happened, the Armed Forces moved with NADMO and the VRA onto the grounds. In fact, the first day the Honorable MP went to the place, it was both NADMO and the Armed Forces that actually carried him to the place to go and assess the place. The Armed Forces have been working there all this while, using the 48th Engineering Regiment of the Armed Forces. When the president visited the place, I was there personally with him. I then told the Navy that from what I've seen, they should deploy additional resources, not just around Sogokope where they were working, and Bato and other areas where they were working, but also to Mepe as well. So the Navy declared additional resources to the place. But over the last 2 days, both NADMO and the Armed Forces working on the ground operation decided that they should redeploy part of the military to other affected areas, particularly Bato and a few other areas, so that the other areas were occupied, because the Navy had brought in 30 soldiers to be working there, plus the 48th Engineering Regiment. And so that was the decision they took. I was a bit surprised for anybody to allude that there's an order from above. No, not at all. As minister, I have not given any order. My deputy is a member of parliament. He has not given any order. Neither has anybody given any order for the military to withdraw from the area. No, not at all.
Okay.
The military is to serve the people of Ghana. And as long as the people of Ghana have problems, and the services of the military are needed, which I believe will always be needed, the military will be there to serve the people.
Okay.
It does not mean that the military, judging from what they see on the ground, cannot really deploy to other areas. In fact, the member of parliament actually raised the issue, which I suspect is because he was on the boat. He was on the 48th Engineering Regiment boat when they told him that by the close of the day, they will move to other areas. And I was a bit surprised that he then wrote to say that order from above. From who? Who is above that?
Okay, Honorable Nitiwul, just by way of clarification. So you went with the president and requested additional
yes,
equipment, additional personnel,
yes.
Because by your estimation, the situation was dire than you thought it was.
I was there. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I was there.
So at what point in time, based on what consideration, did you ask for a redeployment, as in a reduction of personnel and equipment sent to the very places that you said were in dire need?
I just told you that. I'm saying that, first of all, I've just told you that I, as a person, or the minister, or the ministry, or even at the highest level, didn't take that decision to move some of the soldiers to other places who also needed the services of the soldiers. I just said that the people on the ground, the operations people on the ground, including NADMO, felt that other places were also in need of the services of the soldiers. If you know the area very well, both Mepe and Bato are almost becoming like twin towns. So you need to move the soldiers to other areas, including Sagokope, which I saw was almost, especially the VRA was submerged, and other areas that has a similar problem. If you go to K2 South, K2 South, for example, when I flew over the place, I was amazed. So we were deploying the soldiers as much as possible to all the areas. And as of 2 days ago, they took the decision that, look, let's redeploy some of the soldiers to other areas of concentrating everybody at Mepe, which they thought was not the best in helping the people.
Now,
you remember that the logistics of the armed forces are limited. They don't have all the things that we think they should have. It's one of the reasons I went to Parliament to ask Parliament that we will be looking for more logistics for them. He, Ukujoto, was one of the people who created problems for us. But let me leave that at that stage. But just to let you know that when I visited the place with the president, I then told the Navy commander that, look, it would be good if you could move some of your troops from Sogokope and Aflao area that you're operating back to Mepe to assist, because the water level was increasing at that time. But of course, as the assessment goes, the people on the ground will take decisions to redeploy some of the people and not redeploy the people. And I can tell you, because I suspect that maybe the member of parliament is more comfortable with the 48th Engineer Regiment of the Armed Forces, because they started first before the Navy came. So yesterday when I came down, I had traveled, I was in town. When I came down and I found out exactly what was happening, the armed forces took the decision to move rather some of the Navy chaps to other areas and leave the 48. That's what I was told yesterday.
Okay, so let me just understand something. You saw it and felt that, okay, there's a need to send more help to the people of Mepe. Then the team on the ground, based on what they say, is bringing the situation under considerable control.
Yes.
And based on challenges in other communities, have decided to deploy or redeploy others to other parts, i.e. Sogakope, Aflao, Bato, and others, right? Okay. Now, when you took that decision, did you communicate it to the people? And how was it communicated to the people? I think we've lost Dominic Nitiwul. We'll try and get him back on the line. He is Member of Parliament for Bimbilla and Defense Minister. He's been explaining the controversy surrounding, the redeployment of Navy personnel from Mepe to other areas. He's indicated that they looked at the situation. He actually was the one who suggested that because of the situation, the water levels in Mepe, some of the areas such as Sogakope, where there was deployment of the military or the Navy, should get to Mepe to assist the people. But having brought the situation under control, now they decided to redeploy them. Yes, Honorable Nitiwul, I was just asking a very simple question. So, based on your explanation, I want to understand, how was this communicated to the people?
That's why I told you that I was not on the ground at that time. It's an operational matter. I don't even know whether they moved them, they gathered them in the fora or something and communicated to them. But knowing soldiers for who they are, they would have informed NADMO that, look, this is the time that we'll be moving. And so NADMO would then inform the opinion leaders in the area, the chiefs and the opinion leaders in the area, and say that this is what we intend to do. I know for a fact that would have been done. I'm not sure that anybody. That is the more reason why the MP himself would have been informed once he was there. Otherwise, they would have withdrawn without his knowledge. But the fact that they were informing available opinion leaders is the more reason why he got to know that they were going to redeploy themselves to the other place. My problem is what we seek to achieve by saying that there was order for above. I just want to clear and make it very clear that there was no order from any above. In Ghana, the connotation order from above means that either maybe the political class for some reason, or maybe somebody at the serious level, or Army commanders level or Navy commanders level is the people who suffer some regions that quickly withdraw. It's not like that. And the impression that was being given as if they are withdrawing the soldiers completely from all the flood area to go and sit down at home. It is not also like that. It's not a true story. They just at that time thought that over concentrating every effort at Mepe alone was to the detriment of other areas. And so they should move some of the soldiers, particularly the 48th Engineering Regiment, and leave the Navy to be working. Like I said to you, the Navy had then come to join the 48th Engineering Regiment at Mepe, and so it was, as far as they were concerned, prudent for them to move the 48th to other areas to assist them as well. And like I said, I don't want to put the resources of the armed forces publicly, but I think that this is even a call for us to give them more of the resources. If the Navy had more 20, 30, 40 boats, the men are there. I don't think they will have any problem. This conversation will not have come. But there are limitations as to what the 48 can have and the Navy have. It's not something that we should shy away. But I cannot put the figures. But if they had all the resources or as much resources as would be needed for a country like Ghana, like Ghana will not have to have this conversation, because they could have put 4 or 5 boats at Mepe, 4 or 5 boats at Bato, 4 or 5 boats at Sogokope, 4 or 5 boats at maybe Bupe, which has a similar problem in the north, 4 or 5 boats at Asojamai, and 4 or 5 boats in other areas. But they don't have that type of resources. So the little they have, when they serve you, then they will move to other areas and serve them as well, and other areas and serve them as well. So I just want to let the people of Ghana know that there was no decision from either above or below that they should withdraw the military completely from the area. No, not at all. It's not true.
All right, Dominic Nitiwul, thank you very much for joining us. That's the Minister of Defense, Dominic Nitiwul, joining us to explain some issues to us. So, Raymond, we've had issues. We've questioned how this was communicated, but the minister has indicated that he expects the military to have done the communication right. He wasn't there. He wouldn't be able to say, but knowing the military, he expects them to have actually told the community. But we've seen, the member of parliament raise all of these issues. These are issues we'll pick up with the military later.
Yes. You see, when you are contradicting a position put forward by somebody, your response will not be that I expect it as of regularity should happen. Your response should be, I have spoken to the high command. I am in total control of the communication channels, and I understand that this is what happened. I hope you get my point.
Yeah.
So you do not leave any room for any conjecture or possible misinformation or misunderstanding of what you are saying. Because if you agree to speak to us this morning, it should be based on that understanding that you have cleared up that line of communication with your team and that there is no miscommunication at all. And of course, the people on the ground said, well, we understand that directive was reversed and the people decided to stay. So is it the case that some still left? So what then changed their minds and deciding to stay? Is it the case that some of the people still left?
Some actually left. If you read their statement.
That's the interesting part. Because then, so those who stayed, were they originally expected to stay according to your plan, or they were part of the original decision to actually move out, and yet we asked them to stay later on, or we just reduced the numbers in areas? That's the point I'm trying to make here, is that we could have, and it's very easy, it's done all over the place. We could have cleared up this issue right from the beginning. There's no need for any misunderstanding. I think the people on the ground today, be it journalists, be it members of parliament, be it the constituents in the area, their ultimate interest is whether or not they are getting the relief that they desire. This issue surrounding whether you poorly communicated or properly communicated or people misunderstood what you're saying, it's not the most important conversation that should be happening on the ground. But I say I do not find comfort in the saying that I expect that to have happened and that I expected it to happen. It's different from it did happen. This is what we are communicating to you. I hope you get my point.
Yeah.